Okay, this is our video to introduce the Apostles' Key. I'm going to make this short because I know you're at the fair, and I'm going to keep it short and sweet. There is a longer video, and the only way you're going to be able to see that, these are so new, is to subscribe, and because the search is not showing up for these videos without subscription. So I'm presenting for the first time in public the Apostles' Key at the Center of Unity Church in Grapevine, Texas, Mind, Body, Spirit Fair, a new astrological discovery. Okay, this is the Apostles' Key right here. This is my cleaned up astrological chart with my hieroglyph. This is the discovery right here. And it's all about finding Jesus and the apostles. And I'm going to go run through this quickly for general audiences, and the longer one that you're going to have to describe to find is going to go in more detail. So if you can hang with me, this is what it's all about. This is the primary astrological tool to find Jesus. I think you'll agree after reading this in the long video maybe. I call it the Apostles' Key because this pattern alone would tend to find more baby apostles as the magi, the three wise men, are getting closer and closer to Jesus. So there's only one Jesus, and the rest of the planets are necessary to find him. So it's a new form of astrology, or an old one called astro-archeology. And I call this also the primary key because there's several others that I discovered, and they're equally as exciting. So let's move on. I'm trying to make this quick, but I'm trying to keep my voice slow. I am a mystic bridge and investigative astrologer. I'll talk about that later. I was trained in astrology the old-fashioned way, and trained by a very famous man in 1996 in California, Hollywood, by the late Edwin Steinbrecher, discoverer and author of the Inner Guide meditation. There's Ed, and there's one of the things that came out of all of his discoveries is a meditation that uses your own astrology birth chart, and there is a guide in the chart in your own astrology that helps you do it correctly. I'll go into that later in the next video. And let's get back to our chart here. Now, historically, I've always tried to find the chart of Jesus, and so we can find him, and just like the magi did. The magi is the correct way to say it. And when I look at what other people have done, it looks to me like they were trying to do a personality chart. But now I used the Bible. I used the history of Constantine. You can read more about that on my website. I'm just going to go straight into the cut to the mustard here. The sun, this is our sun in astrology, straight up in the sky. Here's a symbolism that nobody is using. The other astrologers, I can't find they're using it. Straight up in the sky like our story, the North Star. But the rest of this is going to add up to something else much more surprising. We're going to put Sun in Leo. There's our sign for Leo. There's Narnia, the lion. There's another symbolism. There we go. We're going to have Leo in the 10th house. That's someone who, with the 10th sun in the 10th house, tends to leave their mark on the world somehow. So that's a big deal. If you've got somebody like Jesus, or one of the ancient heroes, that's pretty powerful. Not necessarily Christian directly, but then we're going to have the sun conjunct the cusp. That line right there is the cusp. Planets and the sun have the most powerful aspect right there on the cusp, and that's going to put the sun also conjunct the medium coli, which I put MH here because more symbolism for Christians, midheaven. If you're going to have a Christ or religious hero, something like that, this tool that the magi would be using, you probably want your guy planted straight smack in the middle of heaven. So all of this really I'm going to talk about in detail later, but right now you need to know that this 4-point sun power position, I can't find anyone else doing this. AI can't find it either. We need to name it because this is the first half. This whole section right here is the first half of what is required to name an incarnation, son of the sun. Son of the sun. Where have you heard that before? Okay, I'm going to move on because this is the quick video. We're going to move to the second part right here. I know you're at the fair. I'm going to move through it. The square is trying to indicate to people, reading a hieroglyphic, that this sun has an astrological square aspect to these 3 points on the chart. Now, this is going to be Scorpio rising in the first house, and the square is to the cusp of Scorpio rising. So we got our strong cusp and another strong cusp. It's the sun has a square aspect to Neptune. This is where we get our fish from. This is the healer, the channeler. In the later video, I'm going to talk about how it's a miraculous healer. And the moon here it starts to introduce the lamb, more symbology, but the moon itself is not the lamb. So I didn't get to the Scorpio rising enough. Let me see. So Scorpio rising introduces words like saint and savior. The Greek definition of savior is one who saves. So all this psychic energy, this is our God energy, the sun, and it's in maximum power. It's smack dab in the middle of heaven, has a square aspect which brings along psychic and supernatural powers to this incarnation. And God's going to want him to be saving people. Now, there's a lot more to talk about, how we get from here to there, and all 3 of this here, but it's too complicated for this introduction. Again, hit subscribe if you're interested, because, look, there's a whole bunch that I can go in detail, and this is just the medium video. There's a lot more that I'm not even talking about that Ed Steinbrecher discovered, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So there's our Apostles' Key, and these are the secrets of the magi and how they found Jesus. I'm pretty sure I can even demonstrate it outside. What else can I leave you with? Thank you for watching. I hope you have a great day, and see you around next time. Goodbye.